Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday morning. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic start to 2021. It's great to be here with you again every Saturday morning, 9 or 9:30 in the morning. And today we have a very exciting topic to talk about. I know there's been some chatter inside the tribe about getting a team on board and how that all works. And so today that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how important it is to have a good team in place so that you can get your portfolio up off the ground, who you need to hire, things you need to look out for, and then some lessons learned from my end so that you don't make the same mistakes twice or make the same mistakes that I did. So first thing, what is the team? Well, when you have a team out of state, or at least you have a bunch of contacts, and maybe you don't even have a property out of state yet, maybe you're just now getting started, a team, or it is, I guess, a collection of contacts are people that are out in the market ready to do business with you that you may already have met with either through email or you got a referral or something like that. So there's 4 types of people that you absolutely need to have on your team from the beginning that are essential to your success. And when you're getting started out of state, David Green talks about this in his book, Long Distance Real Estate Investing, or Long Distance Investing, I believe. And you can find that on Bigger Pockets. You can go search him. I'm sure it's on Amazon. You can go get that as well. But just to give you a synopsis, it's 4 people. It's your agent to help you find the property. It is your property manager to help manage your property. It is your contractor, and then it is your lender. So those 4 people are the core parts of your business and people that you need to know really well in order to succeed when you're investing out of state. Now, I know that a lot of us out here, including myself, really want to try to do the most that we can ourselves, because after all, if you want to get it done right, then you do it yourself, right? That's actually not the case when you're working in investing, especially if you're investing in a market far away, but also true if you're investing here locally. So, professionals, when you're hiring these 4 people, they are professional. That's one of the reasons why you want to have them. They've seen situations before, for instance, a property manager, right? If you think that you can do property management, okay, good. But what happens if the tenant skips out on rent? And then you end up doing something to either retaliate, and then you end up in court because you didn't know what the law was. Or you don't know what type of price to set for your rents, and you're just kind of waiting for a tenant to come in, or you set your price too low and you have a flood of interest, right? So it's really important for you to hire people that are professionals because they've done it before, they live in your market, they can do more for you, and they can do it better than you can. So I know that it's really hard for someone even like me to let go of doing something myself, because I usually, in my own mind, do it the best way that I can myself. But generally, what you think is good may be actually bad on the real scale of performance, if you know what I mean. So definitely need to leverage that. That's one reason why. The other reason why is that they will free up your time. If you have team members on your team, they're going to be people that can help you focus on the things that's important for you. If you're spending all of your time working as a property manager by answering questions with a tenant and calling vendors to try to get a toilet fixed or a doorknob fixed or something, or even worse, you're driving out there yourself to do that, that's not going to work for you. Because if you want to buy more of these, and you probably won't want to because you're doing all this stuff yourself and it's a frustrating experience, if you leverage the right people, they have systems in place where that can get taken care of with one phone call or with one click in an email setting, or in like their portal. They have all of those things set up for you so they can do it better, more efficiently, and faster for you. And that frees up your time to be able to do what you do best, which is finding the next investment, right? Or managing the financial parts of the investments that you have, or spending time with your family, doing whatever it is that you want to do. So hopefully I've made a case that you need a team of those 4 people: property manager, agent, lender, and contractor. So those 4 people are important. Now, how to engage and when do you engage these folks, right? Let's talk about the when first. So each 4 of these people are important at different stages, but the first one is the property manager and agents. Those 2 you need to start working with right away. Your agent, they're going to be the ones giving you leads once you give them criteria for what you'd like to buy in the area. And so you have to kind of do your homework. So I would make sure that you read some books, educate yourself, look at some of the live streams that we have here, or ask some questions in the Facebook group. I'm here to help for anything. Once you have your criteria set, you're talking with agents, right? And you don't have to talk with just one, especially when you're first starting out. Like, you can give them criteria to like 2 or 3 agents and see who you work with the best, right? See, all right, this person responds really quickly, or this person, I just get a bad feeling. I don't know. I don't like the communication that I'm getting, or they seem really transactional. Those are people you don't want to be working with. So agent's important. Property manager, you need to be talking with while you're looking for property, because when you're talking with property managers, they're going to tell you what areas they like to buy in, and they can help you adjust criteria so that in case maybe your criteria is off or it's not going to be profitable for you, they can help cue you in and fix things for you and help adjust things with your agent and your property search. Okay. Then contractors and lenders, those guys are really well, like the easiest way to get them is to get a good property manager and a good agent, right? Or broker in place if you're doing multifamily. So if you focus on those 2 people who luckily are the most visible, they should be able to point you in a good direction of a good lender and a good contractor. Not saying that always happens, but generally you can get pretty good recommendations there, okay? And then the other thing that I would say is that it's always important for you to talk to other investors in the market too. So if you know other investors who are already successful there, ask them who they use for these 4 contacts, right? And then just add them to your Rolodex and keep in contact with them, right? Put them on a Google sheet or on an Excel spreadsheet. And when you have time and you're ready to focus on your real estate business, give them a dial, right? Talk to them, see how things work, see if it is a good fit, right, between the 2. So that's important. That's when you should engage. Now, how to engage, okay? So now you know when you need to be engaging. Let's say you're looking for property and you're going to start looking for agents and property managers. One place that you can go right away is BiggerPockets, okay? The other way is to go with, like I said before, investors who are already there. And then the other way is to use Yelp or something like that, right? And every time you talk with someone, like an agent, right? Make sure you see if you can get a lead for a property manager and vice versa. If you talk with a property manager, see if you can get a lead for an agent. Usually property managers in most markets are also agents. So, there's kind of a conflict there, but you know what I mean, right? Like, just once you are talking with some people in the market, see if you can get recommendations and see if names keep coming up over and over again, right? So it's going to take some time to dial your contacts, but the homework here that you're doing is going to make a difference. Okay, because the better you have your team set up, the better you're going to do, and we'll explain that in just a little bit in a little minute. So again, go talk with investors who are already there, or you can use BiggerPockets. And the way I like to use BiggerPockets is to just say, "Hey guys, I'm an investor." Like, literally type a post out there with the free account and say, "Hey, I'm an investor. I'm looking to deploy some capital in this market, and here's my criteria. I'm looking for this and this. Who do you all recommend I should talk to?" And you should get at least 2 or 3 leads from the people that are responding. And once you do get those leads, start stalking them on BiggerPockets. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for that, but stalk them a little bit. Go on, start searching for all the stuff that they've written and the advice that they've given in BiggerPockets and see where they've posted, and try to get a feel for like who has done what, right? And you can also do that just by searching the forums for a specific market and finding names that keep coming up. And if an agent seems really, really helpful and they're on there and they're contributing and everything, then that's probably someone to reach out to, or at least someone on their team. Maybe not like that particular property manager, but maybe like an associate that works with them. Same thing with agents and stuff, right? So if you find a good team, try to see if you can get on board with like the junior level in that organization, because they're working on a very good value added perspective type of clientele. So you really want to get on board with people that have a great chain of command, but are also hungry and have the time to work with you, someone that's newer. Okay. So, and then the final way we just talked about is referrals from other team members. So much like when we do contracting work, right? Like if we have someone that comes in and specializes in HVAC, then we can ask the HVAC guy, "Hey, who do you like to work with that works before you?" right? Like what drywaller do you like working with? Because the drywaller is the person that has to come in either before or after them, right? And then, you can use it that way. You can be creative in the questions that you ask the people for contractors, right? So there's a lot of things you can do there. I just recommend that you spend some time getting to know some of those people that are going to be working with you out there, okay? Now, the reason why you want to have the best people working with you is that the best people translate directly to the best results. Imagine a scenario A where you have a property manager who's out on site and the property manager doesn't care what your tenant is doing, right? They're just kind of haphazardly, they're collecting rents, they're charging you twice for driving out to the property, and they're charging you $100 to replace the doorknob or something like that. That's ridiculous, right? That will tank your returns. But if you have a high-powered, really, really good property manager, right? They'll say, no, that actually is on the tenant because they have a history of this kind of thing. And we've already repaired stuff like this before, and then they won't charge you for the drive out there because they'll just mix it up with their inspection time, or they're just efficient, right? And then there's their rates and the fees that they charge is all a little bit different. So if you find one that's lean and really, really high powered and engaged and willing to communicate, that's a great property manager that you never want to let go. And you're never going to find a perfect one because it just doesn't exist. And if they did, then everyone would already be on their team, and then they'd be kind of like, you wouldn't be able to have the ability to work with them. So you kind of have to be active a little bit and willing to change, right? If things don't work out. So some things to look out for when you're building your team, okay? Language and eye contact and your gut feel. So when you're talking with them over the phone, it's much easier to do this when you're there, right? And I know that with COVID, it makes it a little bit difficult to do that, but if you have eye contact, you establish eye contact and you have a gut feel, right? That's what you're looking for. So Zoom calls, if at all possible, potentially bringing in your wife. If your wife or your husband has a better perspective with people, or like can understand the intuition side of the conversation, that's really, really important because generally those gut instincts are right. Okay. And so those are things that you should consider when reaching out to these people and talking with them to feel out whether or not they really have genuine interest in your overall situation. Now, I wanted to share with you real quick some lessons learned and some pain points. Okay. So there's so many things that have gone wrong in my portfolio, and that's just the way that real estate and business is, right? That I've kind of distilled things down to three or four essential takeaways. The first one is when it sounds too good to be true, or if you try to triangulate data and it doesn't check out, odds are it's not true, or there's something that there's that's not being said. So if something sounds like it's twisted and doesn't really make too much sense, that would be a red flag right away for me, and I wouldn't want to even consider pursuing the relationship any further. And it's best when you have a partner on board or someone who can listen in with you to see whether or not that actually is something that makes sense, right? Okay, and that's number one. Just when it's too good to be true, it probably is. Number two is expenses on the property management side and fees. So, if you're working with an agent and they're charging you for things that just doesn't sound right, like if they're charging you to drive out to a property, or if they're charging you for like paperwork to submit, that's not right at all. Doesn't sound right. And also a fee list in property management services, when you see that they're charging for like every little thing and it's like way down to the details, you can tell right away that that's probably a nickel and diming type of operation and probably not something you want to get involved with, right? Because the mentality that comes behind that nickel and diming means that they're taking that approach with everything and how they manage their portfolio. And they're probably not really sure, but probably struggling financially. So they're looking for every way that they can squeeze some money out of their owners of the properties. And so that right away is definitely a red flag to be careful of. Okay. Number three, turnkey operators. There's a huge debate about whether or not turnkey operation makes sense, and it can make sense, but I highly recommend that you don't do that. You can do close to a turnkey, which means you just buy a house, right? And then with a tenant in it, and then get a new property manager, that's better. That's far better than if you buy directly from a turnkey operator who has a tenant, property manager, and they've done the construction right in place. Because I've gotten burned so many times in both Indianapolis and Cleveland doing it this way. And so I just recommend that you instead do some due diligence on your own. Do not work with turnkey operators right away. Do some due diligence so you at least have some other contacts to back up, data. Like, is this rent fair what this turnkey operator is charging? Does it make sense that this price point is this high? And you have the ability to ask those questions if you have an agent, your own agent, and your own property manager that's not directly invested in the turnkey, right? They want to work with you. So definitely be wary of turnkey operators. Now, the fourth one is doing site visits. Again, I know that this is hard to do, but there is no substitute for being able to go out into the market yourself and sit belly to belly with the other person that you're getting to know. Not only does that make it so much easier to read any type of BS, right? That any signals that are coming in, it also allows you to get into some of the latest deals or some of the next things that are coming up in the market. And it's much easier to converse with someone, right? And you'll be able to do a lot more efficient work while you're out there and connecting with these people if you're there, because they'll see that you're more serious and they'll take you more seriously, which means they're going to be more invested in working with you. So if you can, that is highly recommended, that whatever market you pick, you actually go out there and plan your visit. So you make a spreadsheet, you say, all right, I'm going to talk with one agent from 9 to 10, and then you allow yourself a half hour of travel time. And then from 10:30 to 11:30, I'll be meeting with someone else. And then from 12 to 1, I'm going to take a wholesaler out to lunch. And you can prearrange all of this a couple of weeks before your visit. And so I highly recommend that to be really efficient. And when you're doing your visit, just keep in main objective for the first visit that you're going out to that site, if that's going to be your only one, is focus on your team. A lot of people misconstrue that, and then they try to say, okay, I'm going to just go out there to look at properties. And, that's fine, but the people who are looking for the properties, it's a much more efficient use of your time if you're able to work directly with them, because they know where to work, they know where the deals are, and they know what properties will meet your criteria, rather than you just driving around and trying to get yourself to feel comfortable with investing in that market so far away. So I would say your team is essential for your success, and you've got to have your team in place, and you have to be willing to rotate them out. If things aren't working, just move them out, right? And the bigger that you have a portfolio, the more contacts you're going to have just organically. You're going to meet more investors. You're going to meet more property managers, more lenders, more contractors, more agents. You're going to get more exposure to all of those individuals. And then your portfolio is just going to get stronger, because you'll have reference points to bounce off of. And that's what you really should be doing as a real estate investor, not spending your time doing property management yourself or doing contracting or labor yourself, right? Your business should be focused on making the numbers work, putting something together that's scalable, right? And that you have a team working for you. If you have a team working for you, I kid you not, I have the ability right now to send a single email, right, from an agent. Let's say an agent sends me off a property that meets my criteria, which they already know because I've been working with them for a long time. They send me a property. I can forward that property along to my insurance guy, my lender, my contractor. And with that one email, right, I can get responses back from all of those people all at once. And we can make a decision right then and there whether or not to buy the property or not. And this is exactly how David Green does it on the Burr side, right? He himself happens to have all of the cash. And so if you have all the cash ready and you've got a team already in place, this is how this works. You work with people, you get rapport established, and then they become part of your team, and then they're working for you. They're providing you the deals, right? And then once you deploy your cash, you execute your Burr or your business strategy, you pull the cash right back out, and you're ready for the next investment. So, but that only happens when you have a great team who can help make things work within the numbers that you all agreed on, okay? So it's all about trust. And it's all about building a business and building relationships with the people out in that market. And if you can get that ball and that machine rolling, then you're going to be completely unstoppable because your team is doing the work for you. Okay? So that's all I wanted to say. And I hope that it was useful. I know that we're pushing about 20 minutes. So I think I'm going to go ahead and stop there. But I wanted to say also, if you guys have any questions at all, please reach out in the Facebook tribe. That's what we're here for. I want to help you guys with anything, any step that you're in right now. We're doing multifamily and we have single family experience. We like to do syndications, but we also can do JVs and we can do, individual apartment buildings if that's where you want to start. Smaller ones like, up to 4 units or even 5 and higher where there's commercial lending involved. Just ask a question, get engaged in the Facebook group. And I try to get on there once every 24 hours to answer any questions that are there. And then we also have a podcast, Sophie and I, where we sit down with high-powered people that we're running across in our networks that are really just crushing it in their specific niche and are very inspiring to listen to. So hopefully that's useful to you guys. Please consider building a very strong team in any market that you're going to build. And as always, make sure that you are buying a portfolio and not an individual house in a market. That's the only way it's going to work, and it's going to make it so much easier for you. So hope that that's good. And if you have any questions about building a team, things that I forgot to mention, or a burning question that you don't have, feel free to shoot it off into YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching, and I'll be here to help. So thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your Saturday and stay safe. Take care.